Just waiting for the stream to catch up. Should be any second now. I'm also playing another game I was messing around with before I got started. Should be any second now. I'm also playing another game I was messing around with before I got started. Should be any second now. I'm also playing another game I was messing around with before I got started. Should be any second now. I'm also playing another game I was messing around with before I got started. I gotta mute my stream. There we go. Alright, sorry for everyone coming in. I got a little bit started a little bit later than I wanted, and I'm in the middle of another game. Let's see if we have any challenges or any active games going. We got a few. We got a Dark Drift we were playing earlier. We got some good early wild picks translated into just quality cards. I'm gonna grab this H-Enchant. The White Dragon we're never gonna have. Hopefully we get this Worm Hatchling going. Move on. So the game that I'm playing right there, I need to edit that I'm on Epic, not Epic Alpha April Dark Draft, and we are doing Epic Card Game, not Eternal. Okay. So that's fixed. We probably had some people tune in on. This is the end of that other game I was just talking about. Alrighty. So now it's our turn. This guy hits everybody. Kaboom. You can kill that. You can kill that. And my guy will get the last shot. Yeah, we won pretty handily here. This is just bonuses we get for completing it. So it's a fun little game. It's PvP based. I think we unlocked this. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Here's the Dark Draft still with Trunks. Alright, I think Banishment's the card I want here. Even though we have some evil, we're not really in it for loyalty. Jungle Queen's not bad. Actually, we do have Burrowing Worm. I'm going to take Jungle Queen because I want to be able to make my wild off-turn plays. Oh, that's interesting. So it's still showing the other game. Alright, so let's just get out of here. Let's finish it. Chroma and card boxes, and I will deal with this all later. No problem. Let's get back to the epic game. Alright, so sorry about that. Now here we are ready to go. So we're going to grab Jungle Queen. The reason why is that 1, we have Worm Hatchling and Cave Troll. 2, we have Burrowing Worm, so we want more ways to play it off turn. And 3, it also replaces itself, so it just does a lot of good things for us. So we're going to grab that. We're going to grab Ceasefire because it's a draw 2 that does something extra. And I'm probably going to grab Jinnasands. Let's see. We have 1 Sweeper. I want an on-turn Punisher, which Jin of Sands is. We have plenty of other cards. Yeah, we could also surprise attack it out. Yeah, I'm going to take Jin. Apocalypse would be a fine pick here as well. There's no problem if someone wanted to take Apocalypse. Alright, well, while that pack is just, thinking, I think we're in the middle of a constructed game here with Wither and Die. We played Plucker. They discard a Plentiful Dead and pass to us, so we will just take the turn. Oh no, sorry, it came back to us. We have to ship it to them. So they still have their gold. We have to imagine they use it. We'll figure out what's going to come. Alright, this is a pack 1, pick 1. Oops, I hit next game already. Yeah. So this is pack 1, pick 1. No information. I'm going to grab Pyromancer here. It's just the most long-term card. It's also in Wild, which is the best color, like Wild and Sage. So I'm going to grab that. But oh wow! All right, so we're immediately pushed heavy into Evil. Like these are the 2 best cards you can get for, like this and these 2 cards. Medusa are like the 3 best cards you can get for Evil. So we're gonna take the bait. We can't avoid them. Looks like Trunks finished his turn. Oh boy, this is a tough pack. So we're gonna. So I think our deck is aggressive and fast enough to pass Amnesia here. I want Kong. I want to be able to really push up my wild count and have aggression. But Amnesia is one of just the best cards. It really puts us into an agenda where we have to play quickly. We have to try to win the game. We know we can't go long. And so we just followed it up with aggressive zeros. Dark Leader is the worst card in the game, and I don't think we have sufficient loyalty to consider it. Actually, we do. I'm actually going to take Time Bender over Courageous Soul. What do we got? Oh boy. So we took the evil cards and just one of those days. All right, so we're probably not going to draw a card off Juggernaut. It's really, really good, but I think we just want Force Mage Apprentice. That's a card that kills our Necrolord, and it's a 0 we can take away from our opponent. We just take more evil here. Make sure we hit our loyalties. We'll see who's ready for us. So for everyone who doesn't know, Dark Draft is the top 8 format for the event this weekend at Pandemonium. That said, this weekend it's going to be all 3 sets. So this is just core only on the app, but for the tournament at Pandemonium, which is a Worlds qualifier, the format is going to have it's going to be random 60 followed up with Dark Draft Heads Up. Against Trunks, we want oh man, Final Task. So my initial reaction is to take Hurricane. It fits what we're doing the most. Oh wait, we passed the Amnesia, so we need damage. We need to win the game quickly. Hunting Raptors is what we're gonna need. We need off-turn plays. But anyway, so I've been practicing random 60 with my team. There's a couple of really good generators for pools. Josiah Fiskus wrote one up for Board Game Geek, and so if you want to try that, you should. Um, I would definitely try to do some 60 card pools, get some ideas of where you might want to go. You only get 20 minutes, so you really got to be fast about it. Um, be mindful of a lot of different synergies in the game. The easiest ones are like Amnesia, Heinous Feast, Grave Demon, or Radic Research, followed up with Army of the Damned on your turn. Okay, so we just want to get back into our loyalty. We're definitely Sage sub loyalty, so getting some great payoff for that. So we're looking for Sage wild cards, which is pretty much the way Dark Draft ends up going. Let's see what we're getting here. We're gonna jam this Wither. We want more evil. We need zeros, but passing like this pack is insane. Like if we take Erase, we're not wrong. Erase is a fine pick. I like Wither kills our Necrolord, and it also feeds our loyalty, so that's what we're gonna take. But knowing our opponent gets like Erase Angel or Rage Erase, it's just brutal. And that's just the nature of Dark Draft sometimes. So we got past the Flame Strike, which is great, and Thirst fits our loyalty, and it's 0 cost removal. Our opponent knows that we're pretty heavy evil at this point, I would imagine. He kind of forced us here, so. In this draft, we're not. Wave is one of the best cards in the game. It's a great off-turn sweeper, lets you recover very well. We also have a Sage sub-theme, so that helps keep that up. Especially like Ice Drake. Ice Drake sets up good waves because it gets your opponent, if they're ahead on board, Ice Drake taps them down, and then they recommit to the board, and then you get even more for them. A lot of people don't have the discipline to sit back behind a developed board. They always feel like they should commit more, especially if your gold's down. This is probably going to be okay. Inner Demon's a good card, but it's not one I'm going to first pick. I think we're going to take Blue Dragon here. Again, and it's protecting our Necrolord. It's also removal, and it replaces itself. Surprise Attack would be a fine pick as well. Off-turn Sweeper and removal. think this is gonna get it. Okay. Oh man, I was hoping this was the draft where we got past all the goodies. So we'd love to be able to get these cards in the other draft, Medusa and Dark Assassin, but Wither and Keeper are both fine pickups for us here. Now, if we could see Medusa and Dark Assassin in this draft, we'd be really happy. Oh man, here's another pack of passing just pure Octane to our opponent. Guild Demon's the best card for us, but like any of these three cards is just going to destroy us. Alright, we got Final Task. I think I want the Memory Spirit. Let me take a look. It's either Memory Spirit or Hurricane. Ooh, yeah, I want the Memory Spirit. We'd like to, now that we have Final Task, we'd like to find Brave Squire if possible. We definitely still want to find Medusa and or Dark Assassin. We want to finish getting paid off for going evil. Oh man, whew! We just keep seeing these juicy packs. We have Final Task already and Necrolord, so Plucker stays with us. But passing Dark Knight when we're evil is just so weird. Our opponent's gonna look at us afterwards like we're crazy. So Frost Giant's an aggressive card. I'm not sure if it's the card I want. I'm torn between life. Like we don't have too many ways to recall the inner piece, but just gaining 10 might be enough. I don't feel like we're aggressive enough to get value out of Frost Giant. I'm gonna take inner piece here, but that's another tough spot where I don't know if that pick was right. Okay, this is a tough pick. This is a real tough pick. Um, I think I want Fireball, but passing Spike Trap and Forked Lightning is. I'm gonna take Fireball. Well, that's a real tough pick. We definitely grab Lasher Race here. That's great for us. But yeah, that last pick was real tough. The reason I took the Fireball is because it's a 0 spell. We can upgrade it for 3 damage to everything. So it's sort of a small sweeper. Forked Lightning does more initial damage, but it does take our gold. I think I want Fireball here as well. Actually, no, sorry, Plentiful Dead. We have that sub-theme. But again, we're passing 2 good zeros to our opponent. Necromancer is fine. And I think in this spot we do actually take the Forked Lightning. Yeah. Do we need removal? Maybe we want Chomp. Let's see. We have 1 spell. We've got a smattering of removal. I like Forked Lightning better than Chomp here. It's going to be removal in a lot of spots anyway. It gives us a little bit of reach. We already have Flame Strike, so now we can make 0 into 13, which is a nice thing. A lot of good cards in this pack. A lot of good cards. If Martin's watching, there's 2 good cards. Ha ha ha. But it's a tough call here. Juggernaut's probably the best card in a vacuum. We have to win the game quickly. We were talking about that earlier. We were saying that we passed the Amnesia. Juggernaut's the way to do that. Pyromancer's another one, but I like this one better. We're going to just get that off turn play in the 0. Well, our deck's done there. I'm not sure about all of it. We only get 1 of these. I think we need to start getting some board presence. Sweepers are always good to me. Let's take the sweeper. We got the Dark Assassin. So now the hope is to still get Medusa. If we can get Medusa, I'd be a lot happier about Evil. I mean, we've got 4 of the 5 Loyalty 2 champions. We've got some of the better ally effects. So we're somewhat rewarded. Okay, we need to take Amnesia. We have Necrolord and Final Task. Like, I want to take this Thrasher Demon, but this isn't a situation where we can even consider it. Yeah, we have Necrolord, we have Final Task. There's just not a world where we can consider passing Amnesia. We have Recall Effect. We have Soul Hunter. Like, way too much. We have Plentiful Dead. Way too many cards in our deck are playing with that. Just get some draw twos, pseudo sweepers. Ooh boy, here's a juicy pack again. We just take the best card in the pack, Sea Titan. But you know, Apocalypse, great. Crystal Golem, Hasty Retreat. Like, it's just the nature of. Ooh, it's nice to see cards like Flashfire come to us. Again, there's just less. We have almost all the cards that kill Necrolord at 0. We have Flashfire, Wither, Fireball. Oh, we passed that Fireball. Maybe that was a mistake. We have a lot of the good answers to this card. We go first, which is pretty awful for this hand. Yeah, we're definitely going to throw Unquenchable Thirst away. I think we have to just lead out with Inheritance, draw 2, and that just feels absolutely like we're definitely going to pass. But if our opponent makes us draw 2 with Inheritance, it just feels awful, outright awful. Let's see what we draw. Let's get like Juggernaut, Blue Dragon. That's a great draw for us. I'm actually just going to jam Blue Dragon. Like, our next play is going to be Thought Plucker, and we're not really that Sage heavy in this draft, right? Still, we went Evil heavy. Yeah, this will send out some false information. Try to get some plays out of our opponent. Flame Strike's not a bad draw. Like we could, so if we pass with our gold up, and our opponent just draws a card, like we don't really get much out of that. Here we can pluck our opponent on their turn, paying for 2 extra with Blue Dragon. We can set up a Flame Strike, Memory Spirit Flame Strike, so that's like 16 damage out of the Flame Strike. Put a lot of pressure on our opponent. And like, we want our opponent to play on our terms. So like, let's say he plays the creature that kills Blue Dragon. We have Inheritance to respond for it. We just have a lot of different ways to generate value here. I mean, Erase is great for us. It's basically, so the problem with Erase on a card that draws cards, we're gonna banish his graveyard here, keep him off of Erase for the rest of the game. The problem with Erase is like he drew 2 cards, right, and he spent 1, so he went down a card to go up 2, so he +1'd. He put a creature back into my hand, so I +1'd. On top of that, I drew a card off the creature, so I actually went up a card off of his Erase. And so like Erase is really good when you make a net positive play. Great. And remember that Fireball I was talking about that I was worried about? There it goes. So that means our Thought Plucker's juice. Oh, and there's our Necrolord. We're setting up already. So the key to this is going to just be trying to find more cards. We want to get our loyalty online. I'm expecting that my Thought Plucker dies here. Epic's a very good player, so I just don't imagine that I get a chance to interact. This is the game with Trunks that we just drafted where he's going first. We have a good ambush card. We have a card for our turn that gives all of our guys. Yeah, we're good here. We're good here. But yeah, so it's important to manage your threats and manage your cards. You want to make sure that you have the best answers in each spot. So like by getting him to fireball our keeper secrets, that means our Thought Plucker is just so good. Because we have a lot of the other answers. We have Flashfire, we have Wither. We did pass Spike Trap, so we have to remember that. We got Lash. So Lash is a brutal flip for him because he can just pay his gold to recall, and that'll kill my Thought Plucker. So it's a very interesting discard because he could just play it. So either he doesn't have a goal. Yeah, he's just going to pick it back up then. No problem. If he's smart, he's going to just play it now. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So we just need one more evil card, and that'll turn on our Necrolord. I think Blue Dragon is just correct. There's no reason not to just replay it. Recreate, the board state we had on turn 1. There's the evil card we were looking for. Unfortunately, while he has Lash in the graveyard, both Necrolord and Thought Plucker are significantly worse. So we kind of have to play around that. So our opponent had to draw 2 to get back to even with us on cards, which is, again, great for us. I'm feeling Flame Strike here, and the reason I'm feeling it is that 1, he passed it to us and he knows that we have it. 2, it gives us a Memory Spirit trigger. Ooh, Pack Alpha, that's interesting. Pack Alpha, he says. Pack Alpha. Yeah, we don't have a good card to play, so we're just gonna Flame Strike him. So this is gonna put a lot of fear into his heart, because we're gonna attack with the Blue Dragon and get him to 12, and then we can Memory Spirit back the Flame Strike and put him to 10, which would make him feel effectively like he's at 2, and that puts a lot of pressure on our opponent. So we're gonna attack first. I'm gonna anticipate a removal spell or something. And then I'm going to play Murderous Necro with guys. So Ice Drake. Ice Drake, Ice Drake, Ice Drake. Yep, Ice Drake happens. Do we want to get 2 damage for Flame Strike? Let's think. If I Memory Spirit... Actually, Memory Spirit, I can shoot the Ice Drake to kill it. Yeah, we're going to do that. So these guys will bounce off. And now we have Flame Strike again. So he's got to play really scared of taking damage. And he now knows that. We have Flash Fire in our deck, and I think we took the Fork Lightning too. So that's 7. So we can effectively kill him from 15 if we have 2 gold usages. And that's good. I believe it was this draft that we got the Inner Peace. Yeah, so he doesn't even have Inner Peace. So he's going to have a hard time regaining life. Here comes Dark Knight. Yay, we have a blocker. We're just going to take this. There's no reason to get frisky. We're probably going to just Demon Breach and make some demons on his turn. Necrolord on Ice Drake's not going to be so hot for us. Okay, he went with Ancient Chant. There's Pegasus. He's going to recycle the Ancient Chant. What's the other one? And the Fireball. Okay, so he's got 8 cards in hand. He's used his gold. I think the best thing for us to do here is to just make some demons. Hitting him down to 10 doesn't really do all that much. Made some more wolves. Discarded Juggernaut. Whoo! Wow. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. So that Juggernaut's gonna look real good with our Necrolord. Okay, so we attack. Maybe there's a world where he spends his gold. Let's see what we can get in done. We're probably just gonna Angel of Death away the board. I want to see if I can get him to commit another creature. So there, we got it. So the Kong does nothing. I don't need to waste our time. We did everything we wanted. We baited the gold out of our opponent. We're gonna hide that we have Necrolord. But that's amazing. And remember now, our opponent is they're at 18, but they're really at 10 because we have Flame Strike, and our Necrolord can get back that Juggernaut. So that's That's a whole lot of beautiful, beautiful damage. And he keeps using answers to Necrolord repeatedly. Okay. Well, we have to block this, so that's unfortunate. So let's draw 2 cards. See if we can draw a better answer. 1, 2, we can. Pyromancer is an amazing draw as well. Pyromancer lets us ping him out. We basically put a lot of pressure on his life total really quickly out of nowhere. The Angel was also, like, it's got Airborne, so that's amazing. It cleaned up the board for us. We just got our turn, so we're going to get in. Assuming this connects, he goes to 12, and he's pretty much dead on board here. We have 8 from the Flame Strike and 5 from Forked Lightning. He does have 6 cards, so we'll see what they are. Like I said, we know we have Inner Peace. We know we saw enough good that he probably doesn't have Angel of Mercy, or rather Angel of Light. And so the amount of cards that Epic Agenda can have here is pretty low. We're probably we're sitting pretty in that game. We're definitely gonna block here, and we'll see what on turn Gold Punisher Trunks had in their opening hand off of Multitude. But yeah, back to the game with Epic Agenda. I'm very happy with where we are here. Assuming this damage connects, we win. If it doesn't connect, then we have a bunch of interaction. We know in the graveyard is Juggernaut. So if they use their gold to answer the Angel, then we can... Okay, so Ceasefire means no more attacks, which we're fine with. Okay. So Flame Strike puts him to 4. Forked Lightning puts him to -1. There are a few cards that he could have that would save him here. I really don't want to see any of them, so I'm going to kill... Wait. Oh, he played a good card, so his Lord of the Arena is unbreakable. So I'm going to Pyromancer and shoot him. Even though it has Ambush, it puts him to 8. And we do have the Forked Lightning and Pyromancer Gold to react to any sort of life gain. And Pyromancer gives us a blocker for Lord of the Arena, so we're very unlikely to die. Muse is fine. Again, we can't stop him from drawing some cards here. He does know that we have the Flame Strike because we picked it back up with the Memory Spirit. There we go. Conceded. So, that was a good game. Epic Agenda is one of the better players I've played on the app. Oh, man. Flame Strike the Lurking Giant. Oh, boys and girls, isn't that amazing? Alright. Let's go Jungle Queen, because that lets us play all of our cards off turn. And we'll throw down some fodder. But, yeah, if we can get Flame Strike onto our Lurking Giant, that's a win-win for us. Look at our opponent's hand size. He's got 3 cards in hand. Like, and we can flash in this Burrowing Worm. I'm pretty happy. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? Our opponent has like a sweeper for Break All Champs. All right, so he Forked Lightnings, kills our Cave Troll. Okay, it's got recall. I can play it on your turn because it's got Jungle Queen. Better not let me have my gold. Again, but Forked Lightning doesn't replace itself. He's down on cards. Yeah, so like that attack only works in certain scenarios, and so because we can do this, we will. So she's done her job. She's gonna jump in front. We don't want to risk any shenanigans with our Humongoid champion. Hey Martin, welcome. This deck's pretty wild. You'd like it. Pyromancer. What's his move? Shoot the cave troll? Okay. You got me. We're just gonna hop in front. I could probably just block with Burrowing Worm and be safe. But honestly, if he has a card to pump the Dark Knight to kill my Jungle Queen, I want him to spend his card. Like, I legitimately want him to have 1 card. If he's got a 0 to play right now, that'd be great. Alrighty. We're going to start by sending in the huge, gigantic Breakthrough Champion. And we'll see where things go from here. Remember, we can play Pack Alpha on his turn because of Jungle Queen, so that's pretty good for us. We're pretty far ahead in any game where we get to use Jungle Queen to play a Burrowing Worm. So we did pick the Jungle Queen over a better card. I forget offhand right now what it was. Hey, welcome, Tom. We took Jungle Queen in a pack where there were better cards, but we need interesting decision. I don't understand why this is happening. Yeah, you're taking the breakthrough. Like, I think that's a big mistake. He didn't even spend his gold, so we're just gonna jam Jungle Queen now. All right, I'm so confident with where we are. I'm just gonna pass with my gold up. Let Trunks make a play if they have one, and if they don't, then yeah, he can just take his turn. That's fine. Like, what's his play here? Attack with Dark Knight? Like he just dies to my Burrowing Worm. Like that's fine. Sea Hydra's a good card. This Time Bender's gonna do work. Yeah, we're just gonna have to play this Time Bender out here. Go to our turn. It's unfortunate that we don't have loyalty, but it's still gonna do what we needed to do. Alternatively, we could have just Lightning Stormed him to 5, picked it up on our turn, etc. But just return the Sea Hydra. Request a meeting with his face. See what action he has. We know one of the 3 cards, or one of the 4 cards in his hand is Sea Hydra, so there's 3 others. Let me get into the Discord. I think Epic Agenda's in there. We just had a great game. So I think I got Trunks here. I don't. Yeah, he's just taking it, taking his medicine. All right, we got a constructed game going. Plague. Return Plentiful Dead and no recycle. Okay. Well, we can't have everything. All right. We're going to cast Final Task. This is such a sweet interaction. We're going to get back that Thought Plucker. Ah, where'd he go? Get back Thought Plucker. Alright, so now Thought Plucker's in play. Our opponent doesn't have priority. We're going to jam Priest of Kalnor and make it untargetable and unbreakable and just jam in again. So our opponent's going to lose some cards here. Best case scenario for our opponent, they have Hasty Retreat, Lying in Wait, or Wave of Transformation. Those are the outs I can think of offhand to an unblockable, unbreakable champion, untargetable. So, and the cool thing about this interaction too is because Priest of Kalnor makes it unbreakable, Final Task breaks it at the end of turn. So we're actually going to keep the Thought Plucker. So anyone who knows or has been following the stream knows that Tom Sorensen and I have been playing more Priest of Kalnor. And the more I play with the card, the more I really, really like it. Like, the fact that the life gain is unconditional is something I really enjoy. And the loyalty of 2 effect has been much better than I thought it would be. And also what has somewhat surprised me is how effective the 1/4 body is. Like, being able to block a lot of creatures and survive has gotten a lot of value for me too. Like not being able to attack, my opponent not being able to attack with their tokens, to attack with their smaller champions. It's been very effective, and so I'm very happy with it. But Wither's in a bad spot now. We know they're going to discard Plentiful Dead, right? Because they picked it back up with the Plague, but we're gonna then hit him again most likely. He's have to discard something else. But Plague is probably or rather, Plentiful Dead is one of the more irritating cards to deal with when you're a when you have with an active thought blocker. The way I see it is, if we're not letting him make 2/2 zombies, then we're doing good. And oh, I'm trying to figure out. Oh, that was earlier today. Okay. Sorry, I was just responding to the Discord chat. But Thought Plucker has a hard time dealing with Plentiful Dead on its own. Card's very frustrating. Yeah, I said hi when you got in, Tom. I don't know if you heard me, but yeah, Priest of Kalnor has been overperforming. Let's do another challenge with Trunks, another draft. So Trunks has to practice. He's on my Plucky team. That's Jason David. He's coming to the event at Pandemonium, and so we're just trying to get as much reps as we can in. I think he made a few mistakes in our game. I don't know what he did in the draft, but like in our game, he didn't have any off turn plays that were effective, and that's something you have to be mindful of when you're drafting and when you're mulliganing. I don't know if you remember. I think it was 2 or 3 streams ago. I had a game where I didn't mulligan enough, and I didn't have off turn plays against the cutter for like 3 turns. And if you're that far behind on gold usage, you just like doesn't matter how good you are, how good your deck is, you just can't compete with the resources. Even if you're getting like an equivalent 2 gold out of your one, if they're getting 3 gold out of their two, they're beating you. Um, and when I use terms like that, I want to make sure I'm clear. When you get like 2 gold out of your 1 gold, it's like when you play a sweeper and kill 2 1 gold champions, right? You spent 1 gold but answered 2 gold of your opponents, that sort of thing. And so you just need to be mindful of them and look for cards that can cheat gold in that manner. Hasty Retreat's one of the more easy ones to see because it's a 0 that can bounce a 1 gold champion. But like gold economy in the game is something that's very important to monitor and to take advantage of. And a lot of people make mistakes with the way that they manage their gold and their options. I would definitely spend time, read some of the articles that Tom Sorensen has written about gold management. If you watch the stream, I probably plug it at least once. Getting ahead, staying ahead does a really good job of articulating what gold should be about. All right, pack one, pick one, Sea Titan. We're just gonna windmill slam it. We know that Jason's likely gonna take Steel Golem Ancient Chant. He might take Steel Golem Angel of Light or Ancient Chant Angel of Light. I don't imagine Bellowing Minotaurs in consideration. But Sea Titan is just Sea Titan. It's just really hard to answer in this format. It also does effectively answer Steel Golem, which is good. It doesn't have the tribute effect, or rather the loyalty requirement, and has an additional tribute effect. So I'm going to take the Sea Titan, but this is a juicy pack. Like, if I was Trunks, I would take the 2 Sage cards and set up my loyalty. But Angel is like even without loyalty, if you just cover the gain 5 health from loyalty 2, this card is still really good. Like Aberrant Ambush, gain 5 health is a fine card. Um, but I would definitely jam Ancient Chant and Steel Golem if I was Trunks. Which kind of stinks for us because we have Sea Titan. So we have to anticipate that when we get the packs later, we're not going to get too much Sage loyalty coming to us. So we have to monitor that. Which is like it's unfortunate. I think Sage Wild's the best pairing for Dark Draft Limited in core. It just has the most high quality of cards throughout. Plus, it has strong loyalty rewards for being in the color. Like Evil has the best individual loyalty rewards. Like if you pull off loyalty to an Evil and you can do it well, like the whole time through the game, you're gonna get the most rewards for those cards. But your other cards aren't nearly as good. Whew. Oh boy, these are a couple of humdingers. All right, so I want this because it's an aggressive card, and even as a slow champion, it just replaces itself and has loyalty to. I really don't want to go heavy good or heavy evil, but at least this replaces itself. You never know when this break target evil champion becomes relevant, and Worm Hatchling's a good 0 that can grow up. But we passed our opponent 2 bombs. They passed us cards that are situationally good but aren't good yet. And if this sort of thing keeps happening, we're going to have a tough time in this draft. All right. I definitely don't want Psionic Assault. It's countered by Plentiful Dead. I'm gonna grab another zero. So now we have two wild zeros. That's really gonna commit us to wild. We have to really look for wild zeros. I'm not a huge fan of Resurrection. A lot of other people like it. I tried playing it after I saw them playing it more, and I still feel like it's way too situational. It's very rare that my gold is up when my creatures are dying. I maybe it's the way that I draft or the way that I play, but I end up being behind on board or even on board, and then I have to commit further and they kill. Um, it's very rare that I'm so far ahead they wipe and I have my gold up. So that might be a hole in my draft strategy that I have to come back to fix, or I have to draft differently if I pick Resurrection or something. But Resurrection would have started paying off the White Knight, but I'd rather just have another zero. Like Wild's so good to be in. There's so many high quality wild cards that come that I think I'm gonna get paid off for this anyway. And here we go. We get a high quality. We get high quality cards. I'm surprised we got Time Bender. Actually, whew, um, this is a tough spot. Like I was saying before, we have to be mindful of the fact that we sent two Sage cards to our opponent on pack one that were very high quality, so we have to anticipate not to get too much Sage loyalty back. I really want to just jam Sea Hydra. I'm probably, yeah. So I think it's Sea Hydra and Ceasefire are the picks. Noble Unicorn's really good, but I don't want to go deep into the good pool, and that's how you get the most reward from it. Hey Matt, welcome. This is that epic game I've been telling you about for a while. Um, it's pretty cool. You should look into it if you had some time. Oh boy, there's a lot of really good cards in this pack. So this, Matt, just for your edification, this is a heads-up draft format where we pick one of these five cards, give four to our opponent, and then they pick two of those four. I really want to take Fireball, but we have to be mindful of our one count. We need to get payoff for this little symbol means that if you pay a one gold card, you get this effect of this color, right? So I want to have green cards that cost one gold. Right now I only have one. I'm gonna get another one here. But this card is also really good. Can I zoom in? Not until afterwards. That's weird. Anyway, this card is like Cone of Flame in Magic. It's a 5/4/3 in damage. This card is 3/1 target or 3 to the whole team for an upgrade. This card's probably better in a vacuum, but I want to have this because it's a one gold card and it's also a draw two. Keeping your hand size high is really important. But like the other two cards I passed, Drain Essence. Oh wow. Um, yeah, Drain Essence and Memory Spirit are also amazing cards. Like we're passing our opponent a lot of really high quality cards. It's disconcerting. And I'm also having trouble getting good cards back from my opponent. Um, like I don't want this card in my deck. I'm gonna take Frost Giant. But do the colors matter? So it only matters for these kind of abilities I was talking about. So like this ability here, put 2+1/+1 counters on this card, will only trigger on green one gold champion, or one gold cards rather. So they matter for certain abilities. Like this card says loyalty to. In order to get paid off for loyalty, you have to have two colors of the same faction. So like they can be one or zeros, creatures or events, but it doesn't matter. But you have to have two. And then this is another. So this is wild ones. So the colors don't matter in the way that they matter in Magic. There's no mana fixing or anything like that. But there is a level of managing your loyalty and ally triggers that make the colors matter in that way. Um, Wave's the best card in this pack. Interesting. I like Rain of Fire a lot, Tom. It's one in the current spot I was in when I took Rain of Fire, right? I only had one draw two in Ceasefire. I only had um one off turn play in Ceasefire, and I needed green or wild ones. And so like there was a lot of things that pushed me to take Rain of Fire. I definitely like Guilt Demon, and I like some of the other cards. I see Yeah, so a lot of the cards have that draw two capability, Matt. As you can see, like this is draw two and do something. This is draw two or do something, draw two or do something, draw two or do something. That mechanic is intentionally built into the game to keep you from running out of cards in your hand. You should almost always be able to play something effectively. Okay. So here, Blitz is like haste in Magic. So we're getting a creature that has haste, so that's good. It also, whenever you attack with it, it gets +2/+2. So it grows up and it kills anything that gets damaged by it. So it can trade up because it's a 0. It can kill anyone. So it's high quality. This is a sweeper, break all champions. It's basically Wrath of God, or a draw two. So both cases are really good. Um, the other two cards are considered like two of the worst cards in the game, so there wasn't much of a analysis I could give you on that one. But the way the game works, if you ever played Type 4 Magic or Stack, is some of the terms people use. Basically, you each can play one spell per turn, in that you can spend 1 gold per turn. Luckily, some of the spells cost 0, so they're free. So you can kind of play multiple cards that way. And then everything in the game is kind of powered up, so all of the effects are like sweeping or like devastating. I've never had played a game where I've had more. Wow, this is a sick pack. I don't want to have to play around Flame Strike, so we're gonna take it. But passing Rampaging Worm feels bad. Um, you can come back very well. Like playing tight is really important. Um, the cool thing about this game is that there's no responding ever. So whatever an effect goes on the stack, it just resolves. It just happens. There's not really a stack like in Magic. It's also binary. When one player has priority, the other player can't do anything. And so you just do all the things you want to do, and then give your opponent a chance to do all the things they want to do. And you can't advance the game state until both players. Do I need that? Ooh. Sorry, Tom. I didn't take your Winter Fairy. I took Corpse Taker. It felt better. But you can make a lot of tough plays in the game and get ahead on board. And like you have to manage so many different things. The other cool thing about the game is if you can manage to draw from an empty deck, you win the game. So instead of like Magic or any other game that I know of, getting to an empty deck means you lose. In this game, it means you win. But they also like penalize you for trying to do that, because like one of the best ways to keep your hand size up is with the recycle mechanic. I don't think I have any cards yet that have recycle. No, I don't. But what recycle does is it puts a, oh boy, recycle puts a card from the two cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck, and then you draw a card. So it basically lets a lot of cards replace themselves. But when you do that, you put an extra card in your library. So you put two in, take one out, so you go down a card. In constructed, there's like 4 or 5 different Feldenkane type abilities, plus a bunch of relic type abilities that are just one at a time that keep it. It's very difficult, next to impossible, to draw from an empty library in constructed. In limited, it happens a lot more frequently because the deck size is halved from 60 to 30, and the accessibility of those Felden's Cane cards is randomized. Um, okay, we have one sweeper, one sweeper. But yeah, so it's a little different from Magic. There's only 4 colors. Basically, black got broken up into red and white into this. Um, Most people consider what the red color is in this, which is evil, to be mostly black. Um, and a lot of the traditional red features are in green, like burn and direct damage is almost exclusively in green. Ooh. All right, Tom, I can't let 2 of your cards go by. I took your Jin. But those are a lot of fun cards. Like this one's pretty sweet. That Tom showed it to me and I started to play it. It's got Airborne, which is flying, Blitz, which is haste, Tribute, which is enters the battlefield, gets +3/+3, so it's automatically an 8/8, and then you can remove a counter from it to draw cards, so it becomes a 7/7, etc. The card does a lot of work. It's also it's an Airborne Blitzer, so if you just thought of it as an Airborne Blitz 8/8, that's pretty good, but it has more abilities, so I'm pretty happy with it. This card's probably my favorite card in the game. This is gain 10 health, and then whenever you play another 1 gold card, of good faction, you get it back. But if you play like if you're playing constructed and you play another copy of this, they just switch places. So it's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's no problem. I figured I'd give some people some explanations. You know, some people like that sort of thing. And even if I'm talking directly to you, it's to any other viewer too who's newer to the game or is popping in to take a look and see how the game works and if they're interested in some of the things. But yeah, so I took Mighty Blow because it's a green one, and we sort of fell off. We only have what 5 green ones, and Flame Strike we want to play at the end. So like I was saying before, you can't respond to anything. So like if my opponent's ever at 8 and I have this card, they just lose. So now all of a sudden my opponent has to play like they're at 8, like that 8 is 0, and that makes a lot of their challenges. It's like the best card in the game. This card's so good because it does 6 damage any way you choose, and it's recallable. So that means recall means you get it back from the graveyard. So like just imagine to be able to like six the board and then get it back, six the board and get it back. You can also go to the face with it. So like let's say he's got like 3 power and creatures, we can do 3 to the creatures, 3 to his face. It's just one of the best cards in limited. It's also a wild one, so it helps us with our Fire Shaman and Worm Hatchling triggers. Like if Fire Shaman's in play, it's 3 to 1 target and then 6 divided however I choose among the other targets. And if Worm Hatchling's in play, it's 6 damage however I choose in Lightning Storm, and then +2 count, +2 to my Breakthrough champion. Passing Cave Troll kind of stinks. Palace Guard's another great champion. So Break is to destroy. Banish isn't like Magic. Banish puts to the bottom of the library. Again, another way to check people from getting to milling out and constructed. Like all the Banish target champion or banish all champions makes it really hard to get to the bottom of your library. It just very quickly becomes untenable. Ooh, yay, it's 10 o'clock. I can have my snack. Yay. So we'll see how it goes. The player that I'm playing against, Jason, is a newer player. So ooh, wow. This is a real tough pick. This is a real tough pick. So as you can tell by the screen here, no, you don't have to defend it, Tom. I actually talked a bit before I realized you had walked away. Um, I like Guild Demon a lot too. I'm gonna take Dopplucker here. This is a really tough pack for me, but so when I took Rain of Fire, there was a lot of things that were going into it. I didn't have any other draw twos besides Ceasefire, so I was worried about falling too far behind there. I had the only off-turn play that I had was Ceasefire. The only one gold wild spell of champion effect, whatever that I had, was Sea Hydra, and I had 2 things that paid off for it. And so a lot of things conspired together to get me to take this Rain of Fire. Like if it was pack one pick one, I would have probably taken Guild Demon or one of the other cards in the pack. But where we were at, that was the card I needed. Oh, this pack is awful. But yeah, I mean, I can appreciate your feelings on it. When I was making the pick, I was saying I wasn't super happy about Rain of Fire itself. It was just where I felt I needed to be. Like I think Fireball was in the pack too. Fireball is a much better card. Guild Demon's a better card. What else is in that pack? Let's see. Yeah. I can't. Yeah, I mean, all 4 of these cards are individually better than Rain of Fire. I agree with you. I still think it was the right card for me to take, but I agree with you. So I haven't been tracking it, but I'm gonna keep the video up so we can definitely talk about the different points. Like I'll be able to create it. Yeah, I mean, it could also just say that I'm awful at dark drafting, which I've said many a time. I every decision I make has a reason and a point behind it, but it could just be that I'm wrong. And I'm not too big to say that. Um, it's really tough. Like pack one, pick one. I'm pretty happy with Sea Titan over Steel Golem, Ancient Chant. Um, and then I like the White Knight pick. I don't know, like it was just a real okay. Our opponent's going first. That's great. We have Plucker final. Like this hand's amazing. We don't want this card or this. Actually, we can Mighty Blow the Thought Plucker. Did we see a race? We don't have a race. He might have a race. We have Spike Trap. We saw Transform. We didn't take it. That's interesting. Yeah, I passed a Winter Fairy in this draft. I felt bad, but I took Genisans. I will. What I'll do is after I upload the video, I'll recreate the draft onto the form that we have in the team group, and then we can talk about the different picks. I definitely think that there was a couple of points that I made picks from my deck that weren't for what I think is the better card. Um, and I'm just trying to be better about doing things like that. So, oh wow, that's a humdinger. So for those who were paying attention while I was chewing and things happened, we finished resolving our mulligans. Our opponent mulliganed two, we mulliganed one. I lost a life, he lost two. He spent his gold and played this big 14/14 Blitzworm. I'm now making him discard a card. And if he does nothing besides discard a card, the game's going to come back to me. I'm going to play Dark Knight and pass back to him. We have the Flash Fire, right? I'm pretty sure we do. We don't have the Flash Fire. That's awkward. Um, hmm. I'm okay with taking 14 here. I think he might have Flash Fire. So taking this is a little risky. I was playing around Flash Fire by not playing the Dark Knight, which is like a reasonable thing to do, but it just puts me in a real tough spot. Like I have to take 14 here and go to 15. Luckily, we have both Flame Strike and Lightning Storm, and we passed him Fork Lightning, so we know that's in his deck. So we just have to play around that. But we have a really sick play here. If he kills our Thought Blocker, um, either on his turn or on our turn, then we can final task it. Okay, so we go to our turn. We drew Muse, which is a great draw. It's basically a personal Howling Mine. So we're gonna see if we can get Jason's gold here. or a free card. Like this card's so silly. So for those who play Magic, Ambush is like Flash. Unblockable means exactly that. Tribute is enter the battlefield. Says target opponent discards a card and you draw a card. So already you're up. You spend one card, you get that card back. Your opponent loses it. But whenever it deals damage to a player, that player discards a card and you draw a card. So it's a recoverable source of like +2 each time it hits. They lose one, you gain one. And so early in the game, it could be the difference between my opponent winning and losing. Like right now, if he doesn't have a way to kill it, he's going to lose a card from his hand, go to 2 cards. It looks like he's going to take it. The fact that it's unblockable makes it so hard to interact with. Alright, we got a free hit. Hasty Retreat's a great draw for us. It'll help us beat our opponent if he has a good use for his gold on that Rampaging Worm. So we're going to Sea Titan back the Worm, and the reason we do this is just to give us the most control over his gold. We're going to be able to block the Worm and Hasty Retreat it. So in an ideal world, our opponent's going to just run out of cards here, and we just win. And there's that Steel Golem. So remember when I said in pack 1, when we passed the Ancient Chant and Steel Golem? We kind of figured our opponent would take it. And so we knew not to go deep into the Sage pool. We got a couple of good Sage cards in our deck, like Thought Plucker, Sea Titan. Right? We kind of skimmed the top of the Sage pile while letting our opponent go deep into the color to try to get loyalty requirements. And that's really powerful for us. We're hoping here that he just jams another Worm at us and we can block Hasty Retreat and our Muse will just save us. Or, not save us, but it'll get us some more card advantage. Or, alternatively, if he sweeps, we know we have the Final Task loop turn. So he's going to take our Thought Plucker. Okay. That's irritating, but that's not the end of the world. That's his gold for the turn, which is great for us. Let's start by drawing 2 cards. So we know we have a couple of answers to kill Thought Plucker. So if we can kill it, then we can take it. Yeah, so we can kill it with Rain of Fire, so that's good. We're also going to just jam this Muse down and pass to our opponent. So if he didn't kill Thought Plucker, he can't kill Muse. So it's just, oh wow, these are just amazing draws for us. So we'll start by sending in Sea Titan and make our opponent deal with this huge 11-14 unblockable champion. My current thinking of how this turn is going to go down is we're going to play Worm Hatchling, then we're going to play Rain of Fire, and kill our Thought Plucker, and get a bigger Worm Hatchling. I want to see his life total at the end of it all. So this is kind of a strange interaction, but we have to choose all 3 targets with Rain of Fire, and we don't want to choose ourselves because we're so low, because we took that initial first hit. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Rain of Fire. We're going to deal 3 to Worm Hatchling, 4 to Thought Plucker, and 5 to his face. And our Worm Hatchling is going to get +3/+3, or +2/+2, so it's going to live. And that's all good. We can get our opponent to 1, but 1 isn't 0. But Corpse Taker's going to pick back up our Thought Plucker for us. And now we have a bunch of blockers for his creature. I don't want to overcommit into a sweeper. We have board control, we have hand size advantage, we have off-turn plays. Like, there's no reason for us to play Thrasher Demon even though we could get in 3 damage, or Dark Knight because even though we can get in 5. Like, it's just, we're in a much better position to play patient and react. Okay, so Our opponent is casting Psionic Assault, and it's going to do next to nothing against us. So we're just going to end our turn. We're going to discard White Knight and Thrasher Demon. Those are actually, yeah, Thrasher Demon. Those are the two cards that are the weakest. So that Rain of Fire was really good. If it was Fireball, it would have been equally as good. Yeah, there's the Worm. So we're definitely going to Thought Plucker here. We're also going to Hasty Retreat, and that's probably just going to end the game. So let's go put him down to one card. I don't know what answers he could possibly have at one card, but we're going to find out. I think Hasty Retreat just buys us everything that we could possibly need. We're going to put Thought Plucker in front of Rampaging Worm. If he doesn't use a pump spell, I think we just let our Plucker die, because Final Task would get the last card out of his hand, and we would deterministically win the game. Ooh, Lash, that's interesting. Lash. I'm very surprised, so if he discards Lash, that means the other card in his hand has to be a Rage, because that would be his way to win the game. So we're going to bait him into using Rage, and then we're going to Hasty Retreat. Yep, so there's the Rage. And normally you attack one at a time, but our opponent is dead and we know him, so we're not going to rub salt in the wounds. We'll just take the game here. We know the only card in his hand is Rampaging Worm, so there's just nothing he can do besides take this damage. So yeah, I mean, that's just a general Dark Draft game. I'm going to go through it later and figure out what I want to do. Okay, so we did this. I think we Kong the Medusa. Is that what we did in this game? Oh no, this is the game where we final tasked. Okay, no, we final tasked the Plucker. We got Angel. He has to discard Plentiful Dead. We Priest of Kalinor. We can show Pegasus and Dragon. We will choose Thought Plucker. So yeah, this is the cool little synergy. It's gonna get a Thought Plucker back into play, and it's gonna connect basically. So that's what this guy does. He makes it untargetable and unbreakable, so it's very difficult to interact with, and it's already unblockable. So the only way he can deal with it is that card that I played, Hasty Retreat. But even if he plays Hasty Retreat, I still draw a card, and he spent Hasty Retreat, so he lost the card. It just gets it out of play. And then if he plays Wave of Transformation, that would give me 2 wolves, him 1 wolf, and it would cost him his gold. Or he could play Lying in Wait, which banishes an attacking champion, but it doesn't target. That's the only card, but again, it still costs him his gold, and he loses a card. So it's just a great series for me, and it gets the Thought Plucker out of my graveyard into play. Right now, I have 6 cards. He has 5 cards. No matter what, he's going to 4. Whether he plays a spell to deal with Plucker or not, and then I'll go up to 7 when I draw for turn. So I'm just, it's creating incremental card advantage, getting paid off for all of these little synergies that I built into the deck. And yeah, the deck does a lot of work. It's based on what Tom calls combative humans. So we have 3 copies of Erase, 2 copies of Muse, and 1 copy of Amnesia, and then 3 Thought Pluckers. Tom doesn't play the stage cards, but I just love Thought Plucker and Muse so much in core only that I feel like you really want to play them. And then Erase is a generic answer that also draws cards. So like cards like Raging T-Rex, Kong, etc. Erase buys us time against. Brave Squire makes Champion unbreakable, so with Final Task, we get that synergy again of you can't break an unbreakable champion, so a 0 and a 1 together basically is a super reanimate spell. Um, Gold Dragon gives us lifelink, Righteous is lifelink, for those who don't know the keywords, and so that's a really effective synergy as well to beat out a lot of the aggressive decks. Like there's a lot of deal damage to targets, and people play that kind of deck, and so the best way to do it to counter them is with just straight life gain and inner peace and Righteous on your creatures. You need off-turn plays, so this is one of the better ones. It's a creature that draws you cards repeatedly every time you play a 1 gold card, a 1 gold good card. So one of the things I like to do is to have a Noble Unicorn in play and just cast Inner Peace, because then it reads gain 10 health, draw a card, and then draw a card later when you play another card. So that's a really good interaction. These also, the Noble Unicorn stack. So if you have 2 unicorns in play, you'll draw 2 cards in addition to whatever the other card does. White Knight, solid card, 9/9, draw card. Sometimes it has haste, and it can break evil champions, which comes up more than you might think. I'm considering now adding more sweepers. Tom has convinced me that this deck has a harder time dealing with Sea Titan and Kong specifically than I would like. It's possible that we don't need our own Kongs. I don't know where to find the room. Like maybe it's the palace cards we should cut. I basically what has to happen is I have to find 2. So the way deck construction works in Epic is for every 0 card you play, you have to play 2 1 cards of the same faction. So if I want to play 2 cards like Apocalypse, I need to cut 2 golds. But if I cut 2 golds, then I also have to cut a 0. The 0 I would probably cut from this deck is White Dragon. I'm just not playing. I'm not getting enough value from it. Like it's a 5/5 flyer, which is really powerful, but it only gets the tribute effect if you've played a 1 good card this turn already, which basically means on your turn that you've already played one. So the best thing you can do is like sweep the board and then play White Dragon, but I'm not playing Divine Judgment. Maybe I should be. Maybe that's a card I should be considering, Divine Judgment. I kind of want to play the Break All Champion sweepers because I play Lord of the Arena, and I play Priest of Kalnor, and I play Brave Squire. So there's like I can create scenarios where Break All Champion sweepers aren't symmetrical. So let's exit out of this game while our opponent thinks about what they want to do. Let's challenge Trunks to another Dark Draft. See if we can get more of those going. I also built a pretty fun constructed deck that's actually completely designed. Oh, interesting. Timeout. That's not good. There we go. All right. While we're waiting, let's do new game, constructed, and that's the Banish deck. So I think this is the break deck. So every sweeper in this deck is break all champions, and there's a bunch of cards that are unbreakable on my turn. And so the idea is to create a board state where my opponent has champions in play, and I have a bunch of unbreakable champions. I play a break all champions effect. My opponent loses all of their creatures. I keep all of mine, and then I attack them and kill them. That's the hope. We'll see how the deck works while we're waiting. But yeah, the game works out fairly well, Matt. I hope you consider giving it a shot once it gets out to general availability. I own 7 complete sets plus a cube for myself, and it's relatively cheap. To buy 1 full complete set for yourself is about $50. If you buy the complete set from them on their store, I think the discount has it for like 45. And then if you buy a complete triple set, which is 3 of each, they have it on sale for like 120, I want to say. and that would get you everything for Constructed that you could possibly need. Okay? So they played Word of Summoning to draw a card. They're going to get smacked by this Thought Plucker, and they get to have a demon. That's fine. Yeah, I can appreciate time being a big deal. Trying to find time while you're a med student. Like for me, I have the time mostly because I quit Vintage. Like, and by quit I just mean I don't really try anymore. I don't brew decks. I don't care about the metagame as much. I sort of just jam what I want to jam and move on. Um, and so that's freed up a lot of my time. But I truly believe, Matt, that with your skills as a card player, even just cold, you could do well in this game. And if you put any amount of time into learning Constructed, the way that you approach Magic, I feel like you would take, like, especially with the new set, they don't have it in this game, but there's a card called my brain's fried. Um, there's a card called Chamberlain Kark, and it says if you would play this card and you have 60 or more life, you win the game, right? And so like it's like the control player's dream in a game like this where it's so easy to gain life. Oh wow, that's a great draw for us. So surprise attack is basically the equivalent of flash in Magic, but it also draws a card for you, so that's pretty sweet. So yeah, we're pretty happy with how this turn went out. Our opponent figured out a way to get Plentiful Dead in their hand for all of the discards to Thought Plucker, which is unfortunate for us, but it also just means that they didn't really do anything that we cared about, and we got to keep our Thought Plucker in play. Um, so we'll see how this turn plays out. Yeah, I mean, it's also the great thing about the game is it pays out really, really well. Like the qualifiers themselves are marginal, but once you actually get to Worlds, last place at Worlds is $500. It's a 64 player invite only event, and I think it was like 64th to 30 to 40th or something like that was 500. The next tier was 750, and there was tiers at each level beyond that. So we're playing very aggressive here. We know that the next play from our opponent is to attack with the demon and then the Medusa, and so they have the advantage of having their gold up here. They can punish us really hard. Like if they had one of those cards I was talking about, like Apocalypse, that would break all the champions, we would lose all of our champions. He'd lose his demon, but his Vampire Lord would stay, and then like that could be a problem going down the line later into the game. And like Zombie Apocalypse's best thing is that it's an off-turn sweeper, but it doesn't work when their champions are unbreakable. So this particular card is actually very good against where our hand is right now. We do have cards in our hand that are great against, in our deck rather. We have these erases, which would reset it. We have the Palace cards, which would banish it. We have plenty of ways to block it and keep our guys alive, but I think for now, we're just going to jump in front of this. We don't need to take damage here that we don't need to take, and we'll figure out next turn. We love having Lash for our Kong, like that's a great effect. So it deals 1 damage, and the Breakthrough is the equivalent of Trample in Magic. So giving your big guy Trample for 0 is a big power play. And the cool thing about Lash is we can recall it for 1 gold, so we can always get it back to really push damage. It looks like not too many people are queued up for Constructed. Let me check the Discord. The cool thing about this game, Matt, is that it's asynchronous and you can play whenever you want. which is a different aspect for most CCGs as far as the app goes. If you wanted to back, I think you still can. If you just message White Wizard, they'll let you in. I want to say like the lowest tier is like 25 to back, and you'll get the full access to all three sets on the game. And I think they said all current expansions are included, which is pretty sweet. And you'll get in-game currency. So like right now, the shop isn't active, but when it is, you'll be able to buy in if you wanted to. And anywho, you can like I have a bunch of games here that are on hold, and they'll fire off whenever they do. But you can have games set up. You can have multiple games active at once. As you can see, I've been on a tear lately. I've been playing a lot of Epic, and I've been doing pretty well. But it's fun that you can like go to the bathroom, take your turns, etc. Um, there's a lot of content that is about the game of varying degrees of quality. If you were to ask me the best resource to use, it would be Tom's Epic Gaming. Let me see if I can get a link to it for you. It's not me. It's my friend Tom Sorensen. He was in the chat earlier. He's written a lot of content. There you go. He's written a lot of content. I've written a couple of guest article or written. Anywho, I've written a couple of guest articles on there, and each one was that Tom. Everything that Tom writes is very exhaustive. He writes a lot more than I do, but he also covers like every minutia point. Whereas I kind of let you figure out more for yourself, or I expect you to have a certain level of understanding of how games work. Tom is much more thorough in that, and his best article, if you were to pick one to read, is called "Getting Ahead and Staying Ahead." Um, it is the equivalent of Who's the Beatdown to Epic, to give you a frame of reference. Like, it's a very good explanation of how the game works and what sort of sequences you should be looking to create in the game. I have seen a lot of players make decisions in games that don't follow the principles of that article, and every time they do it, it costs them severely. I can't even think of a time where someone overcommitted to a board state and got paid off. The game has so many punishes that like you can't play in fear of every punish, but you also can't play into them willy nilly. It's like, is my board state strong enough now that I don't need to add to it? And if you can say yes to that, then you shouldn't spend your gold before your opponent does. And sometimes, even if your opponent has spent their gold and you don't have a good punish for it, you shouldn't just throw away good cards. Yeah, awesome, Matt. So that's the link I gave you is to the actual article, rather to the homepage. I would click on the Epic card game portion of it. I'm doing it now so that I know where to go. And then, yeah, he writes a bunch there. I think he specifically mentions get ahead, stay ahead. Yeah, it's in like the second paragraph or the third paragraph rather. But yeah, and like the combat breakdown is also good for people who don't know. But yeah, his content's really good. Um, you can evaluate the cards differently afterwards. Like right now on the app, all we have access to is the core set, which is like the equivalent of alpha uh, in Magic. Um, and we have in existence like Arabian Nights and Antiquities, like, to give you an idea of what's out and about in the world. So we have three sets for paper Epic, and there's still new design space to be explored. Eventually, it's going to come to be that we have cross faction cards. We don't have anything like that. The newest mechanic that they introduced was Loyalty X, which came up with Uprising, which was the latest set. So in Core and in Tyrants, everything's Loyalty 2. So you have to have two copies of a card to get the effect, and the effect is static. Yeah, old school Epic, exactly. Um, the Loyalty X mechanic is different. You can have Loyalty be 0 or 1 or 2, or 3 or 4 or 5. And the card I was saying before, Chamberlain Kark, it also has, when it comes into the battlefield, tribute, Loyalty X, gain 2 life. So for each, or gain X life. So for or X times 2 life. I'm not saying it correctly, but the idea is you get twice as much life for each card you reveal, and you also win the game if you have 60 or more life. You choose the order of the triggers, so you can gain a bunch of life and then win the game. Chamberlain Kark constructed has taken over the metagame pretty significantly. The deck is really, really, really good. Um, it puts a lot of pressure on the game, and it makes people do uh, awkward plays where, like, instead of trying to get you to 0, they're trying to keep you below 60. And, like, just think of the frame of reference. Like, let's say Magic, right? So you're playing a game of Magic, and instead of trying to get you to 0, your burn opponent is trying to keep you below 40 so you can't fill out our Sovereign. And that's how warping Chamberlain Kark has been to the meta, and it's created so many, like, there's already been so many high quality cards with incidental life gain. Like, let me go to the deck builder. Um, sure, it doesn't matter which card or which one I pull up. So, like, this card has been great forever. Deal 9 damage to target champion, gain 9 life, 9 health, right? So even before Kark existed, this card was one of the best cards in the game because the best strategy before Kark was to kill your opponent really quickly with a bunch of high-powered burn spells, and so and like blitz champions. And so what this card does is it stops the best champion they have and counters their next burn spell, basically. And so, this was like the best card in the game. The thing is, the card deck can just play this, and so now not only are you killing the opposing person's champion, you're gaining 9/60ths of your win condition, and you're already given 30 by the beginning of the game. So like, in a game where you just like, okay, my opponent's going, he played a big champion, I'm gonna play this card. Now I'm at 39. It's my turn. I'm gonna play Inner Peace. I'm at 49. They play their turn, they hit you down to, let's say, 44. You play another Inner Peace, you're at 54, or you play Angel of Light, go to 54, get your Inner Peace back from the graveyard, go to your turn, play Kark, you win the game on turn 2. And you're the control deck. Like, it's just it totally changed the game. They had to print something that stopped control mirrors going to infinity. When I was playing at Gen Con, when I qualified, me and Atlanta, another player and streamer of Epic, we were playing a control mirror, and at one point it was 160 to 130, and then he played a Drinker of Blood that made it 210 to like 60 or something like that, or 55, and then I ground it back to 120 to 80 in my favor. So I did 140 points of damage to him, and like the game was never going to end because he was just going to sweep me out and then hit another drinker combo for a bunch of life. Like, they had to figure out a way to make control mirrors not go to infinity. But what they did was give us a win condition that was maybe too strong against the aggro decks. Like, all of the incidental life gain suddenly became win conditions, and it also is tacked on to cards that are high quality, like um, Angel of Light. Like, here's an airborne ambush champion with a decent body that just incidentally gains you 10 life, and can block pretty much everything in the game. Or let's see, where's another good card? Like a card like Ceasefire that stops your opponent from attacking you. So now they can't attack, so you can just, you're safe for the rest of the turn. You chump block their guy, and you won't lose any life from combat. Gold Dragon, all your champions gain Righteous, which is lifelink. Bang, you're going to gain a bunch of life. I already talked about Inner Peace, how this was a strong, powerful card. Um, what else is there? My friends and I have recently found Priest of Kalnor. We didn't think it was very good back then. I'm not sure if it's good in the card decks. I feel like it's better in aggro decks or decks that are pushing tempo with creature combat, but it's still not an awful card with instant life gain attached onto it for no reason. And this is just the core set. There's even more cards like this in Tyrants, like really in Uprising. There's a bunch of cards that I really like Brand Rebel Fighter. He's a 0 mana ambush 2/5. When he comes into play, target champion gets plus. It's either +3 +0 or +5 +0. I don't remember offhand. But another champion gets pumped, and he also just gains 5 life, like for no reason. There's a bunch of other cards like that where it's like do this thing and gain life, and like usually the thing that you're doing is pretty good anyway, and the life was just tacked on. But in the card decks, so that life is like a win condition. instead of just being a not lose condition. And so the metagame is fairly warped right now. I'm going to assume that in their next set, they're going to print some more aggressive cards to deal with it. And I'm not sure how much I'm going to like that because I felt for a very long time the best decks in Epic were the aggro decks. It's nice to see control shine for a little bit, and I have a feeling that too many players are complaining about how the metagame is just kark, 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 and they might over adjust by really nerfing it hard. But as far as Magic goes, it basically Kark is the equivalent of like Super Gush right now, where if you're not playing Kark, you're losing to Kark, and if you're trying to beat Kark, you're probably still losing to Kark. And like if you can beat Kark, you're gonna lose to everything else that anyone could play. And so it's just weird. And I kind of wish it wasn't this way, but I do like that control is back in like the driver's seat for a little while because like I said, I felt for a very long time that if you weren't being aggressive, you were losing. And like even in this game, what control means in Epic is different than what it means in Magic. In Magic, you have to like weather the storm early. Yeah, I agree that we need to have all the options be realistic. I'm not sure that I include Burn as a deck that needs support. Like Burn can exist, but I don't want Burn to be supported. I want Control to be the check to aggro, mid range to be the check to control, and aggro to be the check to mid range. Or just move everything over a slot where control checks mid range checks aggro, and aggro checks control. But I like Burn is just bad aggro to me more often than not. I don't think it's an archetype that needs specific attention. Um, it's usually a good supplemental strategy as an all-in strategy. I don't want that to ever be the way the game is decided. Um, but yeah, I do think that if we can get some of the more mid-range decks to be able to stand up to Kark, that would be good for us because that would let in the aggro decks that beat those, and we'd have a healthier metagame. Um, but if I have to choose the metagame for me, I'd rather choose the metagame with all the control decks. That's the metagame that I'm going to win the most. uh, but like as I was trying to say before I got into this side note, um, like control in Epic isn't about like amassing this resource hoard and then leveraging it over your opponent in the way that it is in Magic. Because in Magic, you typically need to land. Your opponent plays spells early, you weather the storm, and then you play big like haymakers late, and they eventually run out of ways to answer it. And like in a sense, that's kind of what happens with Epic, but it's different because there's no like mana resource. Your opponent can start the game by playing Begarden Hellkites. Your opponent can start the game by playing, whatever Thragtusk, whatever crazy creature is like super hard to deal with. And like you can start the game by playing Plague Wind or by playing, Sorin or whatever crazy card you could think of. And so like there's no like ramp up period of like, oh, let's amass some cards. It's just immediately bang, 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 bang. Um, I hope that we just stay with champions and events. As far as I know, there's nothing in the spectrum of anything else. I don't imagine we're gonna see planeswalker type effects or like, some kind of base or something like that. From what I know of them, they don't think that that's a good idea. That said, if you had asked me about that in Magic 10 years ago, or now I guess 15 years ago, I would have said never either. They have to explore as many different new avenues as they can. Um, I'd like to see more tokens first. Like right now, there's only 4 different types of tokens, and there's the 1/1 human, the 2/2 wolf, the 2/2 zombie, and the 4/4 demon. I would love for Sage to get some tokens that aren't the promo, the Kickstarter promo that no one can play with because it's not legal in tournaments. Um, and that's not even like no one. It's just another copy of the card. Really, it's not a real token. Yeah, I mean, or just like let me sacrifice creatures for a payoff. That'd be amazing. Like an Antuco Husk type creature, or so something like that. I would like to see that. Could you imagine if they did something like sacrifice a creature, gain 2 life? I think a card deck would play that. Like, you could do a lot of things with that. Plentiful Dead would be a lot better. Secret Legion would be a lot better. I mean, if they could just make actual tokens a good deck again, or ever. Like, there's so many pieces for the token deck, but at the end of the day, they just lose to all the sweepers. And there's so many off-turn sweepers. And, like, there's a critical threshold of life that they can actually deal damage to. And so the card deck, like, if you just play Angel of Light, the game's over against most token decks because they can't keep up with that huge, massive swing up. And like you also have a blocker for all the tokens, so they can't whittle you down. All right, Wasabi. So this is another member of Pluck You. We picked him up from the app. He is definitely one of the better players of this game. We haven't played too much Constructed yet. All right, so he goes first. We probably don't need both Drain Essences, but I like the rest of our hands, so we're going to keep the rest. So the whole point of this deck is to play a bunch of unbreakable champions. So we have Dark Knight's unbreakable on our turn, Brave Squire makes somebody unbreakable, Drinker is unbreakable, Juggernaut's unbreakable, and Vampire Lord is unbreakable. And then we play Zombie Apocalypse, Break All Champions, Actual Apocalypse, Plague, Angel of Death, a bunch of Break All Champion effects. Dark Knight would be scary, but we have Plentiful Dead, so we're just gonna boop boop doo. So he played his champion, went to a combat, attacked us. We have responded by playing zombie token. So now, if he wants to kill this, he can, but then we can respond by getting back Plentiful Dead and casting it by playing one of the spells in our hand. And if he doesn't kill it, then we can just jump block. So we're pretty happy about that. This is a 0 cost removal spell. It will kill this guy on our turn. Right now it's unbreakable, so we can't actually kill it on his turn. But luckily for us, this card has recall, so we'll get it back in a second. He's used to me playing the deck I was playing before, the wild, good aggro deck. So playing a deck that's like this is very abnormal for me, and he's not going to be expecting a lot of these cards. The cool thing about Resurrection, I'm playing it in this deck, is because a lot of the guys are unbreakable on my turn. On my opponent's turn, they're going to break my champions, and so then I can use Resurrection to get them back. It's not a card I've been able to get a lot of value out of, but I'm trying to see if I can force value out of it. So he's going to erase his Dark Knight and attack us again with it. But now that his gold's down, we can just replay that same line. So we're going to Vamp Lord the Plentiful Dead. And if he attacks, we chump block, and if he doesn't, then we don't really care. Yeah, here comes the Dark Knight. We're just going to jam down the Plentiful Dead. It's not a problem. Instead of losing 5, we lose 1 from the recall later. We may have to draw 2 cards off of Final Test. I think we were playing all 3 copies. So we got Flash Fire out of him. So he's going to get 5 damage in. We're okay with this. We can't do too much about it. It's not worth trading our Vampire Lord off. I think we do have all 3 copies of Final Task, so if we have to throw it away, we throw it away. Alright, that's a great draw. Alright, so let's send in our Vampire Lord, see what happens. We're probably going to just draw 2 off Final Task. The only way we don't is if he gives us a juicy target to Drain Essence. Yeah, that's a sweet effect, Matt. There's actually a card called Force Field in this game. It was another, like, I don't say a new mechanic, but a new thing they introduced to us. Unbreakable. So there's 2 ways that creatures leave the battle, or 3 ways. There's return to hand. There is, all right. So we're gonna Wither. him. And I want to draw 2 cards. I want to make sure we get our recall off. Sorry. So, oh good, we drew final test. Unbreakable is specifically about how it would die. Let me... Unbreakable. So, when a creature would die from combat damage or from an effect that would break it, it goes to the graveyard. Banish is a specific effect that puts it to the bottom of the library, and then Return to Owner's Hand or Bounce is again another effect that would be checked by something else. So, an Unbreakable Champion specifically means, ooh, that's interesting. Okay, so we know we're gonna have to Drain Essence that on his turn. We saw Flamestrike Triceratops. So we're really at 7 right now. We're definitely going to need to jam this Drain Essence. Yes, it is indestructible in Magic. The only caveat is that, as far as I know, there's no minus health card yet, so I don't know if there's a way to kill an unbreakable damage through minusing. Okay, so we know 2 cards in our opponent's hand are Triceratops and Flamestrike. So so there's the Trike. We know one of the cards is Flamestrike, and we'll figure out the rest. Okay, go to our turn. That's a good card to have. Let's get in on our opponent, see what happens. So if he blocks this champion, we're just going to wither his guy away to death. That'll be great for us. Yeah, so we're definitely going to let damage happen. His guy goes to 3. He thinks it's going to live, but we just have wither. Because we have final task here, I'm just going to jam this Thought Plucker out. Actually, we have control of the game. We're going to leave him back to defend against a strong Blitz champion. I'm expecting that my opponent's going to play an effect, and then we're going to play Thought Plucker. If he kills my Thought Plucker, okay, he just took his turn. That's fine with me too. We didn't really have a strong play to make on our opponent's turn, or rather on our turn. So not giving him gold advantage there is good for us. We have board control, so we don't want to commit too much. So Zombie Apoc on his turn is great for us. We're just definitely going to jam this Thought Plucker now. Like, with Final Task backup, that's just so good for us. So already he's going to be at 3. If he has an answer for it, he goes to 2. We Final Task, he goes to 1. And then if it hits, he goes to 0. So it's a really quick way to knock our opponent's hand size really far down. Alrighty. Those are unfortunate draws. Very unfortunate. So if we Final Task now, he's just gonna lash. He's gonna pick up his lash and use it. So he'll go down to 1 card. But we're not gonna be super far ahead, and I don't like that. We want to save this Final Task. If we draw Brave Squire or Amnesia, then we can do better. We're just gonna pull further ahead on our hand size right now. See? And Corpse Taker sets us up because it's going to get us back our Thought Plucker, and our Thought Plucker is going to pressure the cards in hand. So that's good for us. In an ideal world, we're going to get to a situation where we can resurrect our Thought Plucker, but we'll see how the game plays out. We know one of the cards he has in his hand is Flamestrike, which is deal 8 damage to target creature or player. Okay, so he didn't pick up the Lash there, which is good for us. If we can get a full turn cycle, the Corpse Taker will be online. We're going to jam Ceasefire here. That'll be his only attack. And then we can throw forward this zombie to block it. The reason why we didn't play Thoughtplucker right now was to be able to banish his... we want to banish his Lash that's in his graveyard. I don't know why it's not. Did he pick it up? Oh, he didn't. I don't know. There it is. Sorry, the game doesn't like to be interacted with while other people have priority. We want to get rid of this card so he can't easily kill our Thoughtplucker. But yeah, you can see here we're already setting up that play I was talking about. So he's unbreakable on my turn. This creature's unbreakable on my turn, and this says on your turn break all champions. So what I'm looking to set up here is I should have played this before combat, but I'm gonna play Drinker. I don't think he was gonna block. Yeah, okay, I was right. So I didn't want him to be incentivized to block. So now we just play Drinker. I should have played a zombie. I'm too busy thinking about other stuff. I should have made my zombie, but now what I've done is, again, I have these unbreakable champions. So if I play Plague, on my turn it'll break all the champions. His guys will all die. This will basically, for every creature that dies, Tendrils of Agony goes on the stack mat. So I'll be able to Tendrils him, and that's pretty strong. Alright, so Hunting Raptors is irritating because he's going to be able to Hunting Raptors down my Drinker. Let's see if he goes. He's going to probably shoot me here to 19. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to imagine he's going to follow it up by shooting the Drinker again. The problem is that if I was to resurrect the Drinker, he could just play the other Raptors from his hand and put me into a pretty awful spot here. I have to determine what I want to do right now next turn. So if I cast Resurrection, he just plays the other Raptors and shoots it. The thing with that is that it gains me 4 life and forces him to use an ambush card on his turn. So I actually like that a lot. Yeah, I'm going to use that. So he's going to play his other Raptors, shoot my Drinker. That's going to basically gain me 4 life of him not shooting me with it. It's going to eat it's going to eat his gold as well. And then on my turn, I'll be able to kill both of his Raptors and his zombies with a Plague, and I'll keep my Dark Knight alive. The only other thing he could have that would be devastating is, all right, this is fine. He's going to do 4-2, which is, it's not great, but again, we're not taking damage to our face. We're going to throw Plentiful Dead out to protect us. So we're gonna save 2 life here and go to we're gonna end up at 17 at the end. Because he chose not to play the other Hunting Raptors, I have to figure out what I want to do. It's good that we have Corpse Taker to get rid of his Lightning Storm, but like I said, now we have to play around the second copy of Hunting Raptors. Like, he has Hunting Raptors that gets us to 9. He has Flame Strike gets us to 1. Any any evil card's going to be a real problem for us. Or rather, any 0 cost burn spell. We're even though life totals are close, we're pretty far behind here. I may have to grab his Triceratops and smack him with Final Task. I mean, I really want to grab my Drinker, but all it's going to end up doing. Ooh, that's a really good draw. That's a really good draw. So the very first thing we do is get rid of Lightning Storm. We don't want to see that. We need to gain as much life as we possibly can here. Put a champion from your discard play pile into play under your control. So we're going to play Drinker. We're going to pay 1 to recall this. We're going to jam this. And we're going to wither away the zombies. The reason we do this is because 2 champions are going to die. We're going to gain 4 health. And we hit our opponent for 4. And it's basically just a way for us to gain some life, put some pressure on our opponent. We're going to keep our Drinker, so he's going to have to shoot the Drinker down with his Hunting Raptors. So it's like if we gained 4 life from the triggers. We're going to gain another 4 life from him shooting the Drinker. And we're going to go for that Thought Plucker line I was talking about before. I have a feeling it's not going to be great, but if we can get both of his Raptors into play, then it's going to be harder for him to answer it. He may not have loyalty anymore. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so again, final tasking a creature that's unbreakable is good, high quality. Yep, I saw that coming. So that's going to put us to 12. We might still be dead on board. Like, if he has another Flame Strike, we're just dead. He could even have 4th Lightning Rain of Fire. Like, there's so many cards that we're just dead to right now. But we just don't have any other choice to play than what we did. Maybe we didn't have to draw 2 cards in that spot a couple turns back where we drew 2 and our opponent was able to play something, but like, yeah, he's got Flame Strike. We were just dead. Well, we played around everything but exactly second Flame Strike. So, but yeah, Wasabi's really good at this game, and so you can kind of see how he manipulated the game around. It was still fairly close at the end of it. But it seems like not too many people are on today. Like I said, we're still queued up for a constructed game, and no one seems to be. You know what? Let me do a dark draft with Wasabi. This is what he's best at, and so I won't be able to get away with as many missteps as I did in the last one. Yeah, we're drafting now. I gotta say good game in the chat. All right, pack 1, pick 1. We take the best card, which is Rage. We notice that we're passing a lot of wild to our opponent, and he'll be happy to take it. We got past bad cards. I'm not happy about any of these, but these are the 2 best cards in the pack. These are like zombie token creators. Like, I'm just not a huge fan of token creators in general. There's just too many sweepers in the game. Yeah. Keeper of Secrets is really strong, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna take. I'm gonna take Keeper of Secrets, but Triceratops is a really good card too. Like, trample, draws a card, does everything. But remember what I said last turn we passed Jungle Queen and the other wild card, like Hunting Raptors? Like, now he's getting Trike and Worm Hatchling. Like, he's just gonna jump so deep into He's just gonna jump so deep into Wild, and Wild's such a strong thing to be in Dark Draft. Like, I don't even think I took anything incorrect, but like, oh wow, these are some insane passes from him, like insanely good. Um, like these are two of the best cards in the game, and this is the best card in the game. This is crazy. Luckily, like, and so he's probably gonna take Burrowing Worm and Chomp. Like you don't want to go deep into evil, so he's probably gonna avoid it. We're getting good zeros. We've got 4 zeros out of 9. That's a pretty high concentration, and they're not bad zeros either. Like each of them is quite good. So I think we're gonna ooh, this is a sick pack. Wow, wow. I just want to have all these effects. Stay on the zero train. Like the cards in these packs are just absolutely insane. Like he could like any two of these cards are just great. Like again, and we're just getting great cards. We're trying to have as many zeros as we can. I'm basically trying to play it as aggressive as possible. Um, it's a strategy that I don't normally employ, but against Daniel specifically, I want to be able to challenge his early game. I may be giving up too much in the late game, but that's where I'm at. Like, this card might even end up being bad in this matchup because the game's not going to go to a point where someone's going to draw from an empty deck, but I'm just so geared to take that card before passing it. Um, but again, like out of this pack, like there's not two bad cards in this pack. These cards are pretty strong too. Um, we're doing pretty well on zeros here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. 8 out of 18. Again, it's very high concentration. We just can't afford to. Actually, that's a better card. No, let me take this card. Thank you. We let that zero go because we just don't have enough cards to trigger it. Although Wild's our best card, our best color. Ancient Chant has recall, so it's a way to use our gold when we have too many zeros in our hand. It's the same reason why we took Pyromancer. It's a way to use gold when we don't have cards in hand. An Avenging Angel is a card that it's binary. When it's expended, they can't be attacked, or we can't be attacked. And it has lifelink and blitz, so it's very aggressive. It's strong. It fits what we're doing. It's possible that I should have taken the Fire Shaman over the Avenging Angel. The more I think about it, that might have been right, but you saw how good Flame Strike was in the game against Daniel's constructed deck in limited. It's as devastating. Now we have so many different ways. We have Forked Lightning, we have Rain of Fire, we have Fireball. So that's 13. We have Lightning Storm. That's 19. Like we have what 5, 10, 13, 19. We have 27 points of direct damage in our deck. It's pretty good. We want the ambush cards and the off-turn plays. Here's another amazing set of cards. These are all really good. We got the Bray Squire. It's one of my faves. White Dragon's strong, but it's a lot less strong when you don't have a way to get the recycle, and so I just don't want it in the deck. And Juggernaut looks like we're going to be able to trigger fairly reliably the draw card. Plus, it's got Breakthrough and Blitz, so naturally, so that's just amazing for us. But yeah, we have both Lash and Rage. Like There's a few cards that I would change out of this deck if I was to quote unquote optimize it, but we've got a lot of the things I like. Deadly Raid's great with our zeros. Deadly Raid means that we can attack with a bunch of guys that are unblockable, and that'll pretty much make it so our opponent can't beat us. I think we passed a Spike Trap, so we have to be mindful of that the turn that we play Deadly Raid. So we definitely want Final Task. We have Prey Esquire and some unbreakable guys, and Thrasher Demon is great. So we are playing probably the most aggro deck I've ever played, ever. There are some people that I know that would love to have this style of deck and this many super high quality bombs. It's funny, we have that surprise attack, and there's not even a single good card for us to put in off of it. All of our cards either have ambush or cost 0, but oh well. Maybe it's just good that we denied it from our opponent. Woo! Okay, so we're starting off. So we're just gonna mulligan the surprise attack. There's no reason to have it in our hand. There's nothing in our deck that we want to surprise, like literal nothing. Let's just make sure. Yeah, there's like stone nothing that we want to surprise attack. So let's make that be the last card we ever see. Juggernaut. That card's great on turn 1. How many Sage cards do we have? 1, 2, 3. So I want to be able to play Timebender with our gold, with our loyalty up. So I think we just pass here. We'll see what Daniel does. If he plays anything, we Rampaging Worm. If he doesn't play anything, we'll go from, we'll get his free card. But playing Rampaging Worm into blockers is just a bad idea. Okay, so he drew a card and then played Noble Unicorn on his turn. That's very abnormal. I definitely want to get Timebender in play. Let's reveal some cards and throw that Noble Unicorn back in his hand. Get some control of the board. In an ideal world, we draw a Sage card so we can pressure with Juggernaut. Let's see how many. He played Force Mage Apprentice. That's a big mistake. Oh, he's a Flashfire? Wither. I mean, okay. Okay. Yeah. I didn't have to show him that it was gonna get blitz, but I might as well. Let's banish the apprentice. We were in a tough spot because we didn't have an untold, we didn't have a gold punish or a gold threaten. Like we didn't want to play Juggernaut there. And now we're in a weirdly weird spot where we don't have a play on his turn either. So I'm not super enthralled. If we had held Brave Squire, we could have had it bounce itself and then replayed it on his turn, but it's just not great. We did get Wither out of his hand to kill it. Him throwing Inner Demon away to draw 2 is not good for us at all. That's brutal. That means that he has another answer for Time Bender already. So we're pretty far back in this game. Maybe I should have mulliganed more. What did I mulliganed away? Surprise attack? Maybe I should have mulliganed the worm away. Or maybe I should have just did a draw 2 with Final Task. I really didn't want to leave the Apprentice on board. Like, it's just so irritating against all the cards I had. I really want to draw off this Juggernaut because I'm so far behind in cards. But, like, it just means I can't do anything effectively on my turns. Which is a pretty tough spot to be in. Good night, Matt. No problem. I enjoy streaming. Hope you have a nice night. So he broke all champions. We're not going to spend our gold. Get rewarded. Start pulling ahead and pulling back into the card advantage game. That's a great draw for us as well. Pyromancer again. We were saying before about trying to have cards that let us spend our gold when we don't have gold. That's exactly what Pyromancer is going to do for us. All right, so we had Lying in Wait ready and willing. I'm going to try to. It's good to get Lying in Wait out of the way. That means Crystal Golem is ready to go. I'm surprised he threw it away on the jugs there. We'll see what he plays. We're down a card right now. So that's unfortunate. He basically got to play a draw 2 when we couldn't do anything. In an ideal world, we get a second Sage card for Ice Drake, but I don't know if we're going to have time for that. It's really going to depend on what Daniel does with his few turns. In my ideal scenario here, I want to play Pyromancer on his turn, kill whatever he plays, untap, attack with Pyromancer, get him to spend his gold, and then smack him with Rampaging Worm. Like I said, we have so much burn in this deck that we just need to draw it and we'll probably win. We knew Noble Unicorn was in his hand. So yeah, we just shoot our opponent. Like I was saying earlier, we just have so many we have so many burn spells. There's another one. So he played Strafing Dragon without loyalty, which is great for us. We can kind of still race that. We definitely just throw Ice Drake in front. Like, it'd be sweet if we had a loyalty, but the fact that we win the block trade and then we can have a sweeping an attacker, like it's gonna force plays from our opponent, and we have both Rage and Lash, so it's gonna be very difficult for our opponent to punish us. All right, so he's gonna be able to recycle. He's gonna gain some health, which is unfortunate, assuming he has good ones. Well, we took the Avenging Angel away from him, so Gold Dragon is the next best thing. Card's pretty brutal. Yeah, we just don't really have a good answer for Gold Dragon in our hand. I hope we draw one. Yeah, we definitely just block here. Like, if he has a way to kill us, then he has a way to kill us, but he's just going to gain 6 life. We passed that gold dragon too. We should have remembered that. That was probably a mistake, considering how deep we went down the burn path to pass gold dragon. Wave of Transformation would be ideal here. I think we have another sweeper. Standalone would be not very good. I think we need Wave. That card's frustrating, but not really that big of a deal. Oh, there's Wave right on time. All right. Let's start by attacking in the sky. Erase, that's perfect for us. That means our wave is good. Like, sure, we lose a creature, but that means we get to keep a Pyromancer. We're totally okay with that. Yeah, we're gonna wave now, if you don't mind. So, you get some wolves, I got some wolves. We got this Rain of Fire card. That card's pretty sweet at killing a bunch of small creatures. We do not have a good answer for Succubus outside of Rain of Fire. So, Angel of Death, that's not good for us. Drain Essence, that's even worse. God. Yeah, our opponent just has all the cards that beat the cards we have. Yeah, I mean we're pretty far behind in this game. I don't see us coming back. This is part of the frustration of being an aggro player. When your opponent gains 20 life, you just lose. Like I can't even throw any of this at him. Actually, I could throw the 4 at him. So 3, 4, 5. Well, it's good for us that we have amnesia. I just don't know if it's going to matter. Like, I feel like we're going to get pushed out of our life totals before the before the amnesia would matter. Yeah, like we're still playing. I feel like so much of this game just hinged on us not having good early plays. Like the turn where we had to Brave Squire Time Bender after Final Task, like that just ended us. When he had Apprentice into Wither and a gold, just really put a damper on our plays. Memory Spirit gets him back Wither, gets him back Word of Summoning, so he's making demons. That's fine. I mean, frankly, I just wanted to block. That way we can draw a card and maybe find something better. The problem is that our deck is full of a bunch of burn, and burn does nothing. So we're just gonna draw 2 cards and probably concede. We'll play Amnesia, banish his discard pile, and then probably concede. Yep, we don't need to waste time in this game anymore. We are so very far out of it. He just gained too much life, and we couldn't really combat that. Yeah, so we're just gonna block with the Kong. All right, well, that's probably it for tonight for me. I'm gonna try to get back on later. Um, there just doesn't seem to be too many people online right now to play with, and it's getting a little slow. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully, we'll get some more games in tomorrow. Talk more about drafts. This one's obviously constructed. It's a game I had queued up from earlier, but we did 2 drafts against Jason. We won both of those. We did a draft against Daniel. We lost that one, and we did a constructed with Daniel that we lost. Um, in both situations that we lost, we in the second game against Daniel in Dark Draft, we lost because we didn't have strong on-turn plays and off-turn plays in the early game, and he was able to create an advantage that we couldn't overcome. Um, like Wave was the best card we could have drawn, and he had a good punish for it. And that after we played Wave, he rebuilt, and we he gained too much life in that turn when he played Gold Dragon and got in with Noble Unicorn and Gold Dragon and gained 12. We lost the game. We had way too many burn spells that didn't do anything, and he had way too many incidental life gains that triggered and actually got him. Like even the 3 life he got off Priestess Evangeline ended us. It was pretty unfortunate. The constructed game went a little different. I feel like we started to draw dead and he drew better. We played around everything but double Flame Strike, and he happened to have double Flame Strike. And sometimes your opponent just has all the cards that they could need, and we can't do too much about it. Um, Looks like this game is starting. Um, but Matt's notorious for taking forever to make plays. Like, I'm just considering just like maybe even conceding this game preemptively because of how long he takes. Like, I stopped playing as frequently on the app because people weren't playing too often. But Matt specifically, when I was playing with him, it would be like one move a day. And I think it comes back from when he played Star Realms, which is a different game. And like in Star Realms, it's a deck building game. You just buy on the board. and he's one of the best players in the world at Star Realms. And he would just like in the morning clear his log of moves, and like a full game of that um, takes maybe 10 turns of both players, maybe 20 in a long game. But the thing is, like, the game advances so much quickly in one sequence, whereas in Epic, like right now, he queued up for a game, it fired. We've been in queue longer, so we know he was the first one in. Rather, he's right into this game, and he still hasn't resolved his mulligan. So, I'm gonna go. It was a pleasure, everybody. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice night.